Good morning everybody and welcome back! Today we're going to embark on an epic adventure. We will have to face off against hideous monsters, shady characters and our crippling addiction of acquiring loot. Why am I even picking up all of this shit? Like, I'm not even looking at the value anymore. I'm just picking it up to hoard it like a goddamn dragon. Like all of the classic adventures, it all started inside the bowels of a flying, burning tentacle monster, where moments before we had been infested with a brain-eating parasite, which would inevitably turn us into one of these. Oh fuck, don't tell me I'm gonna become a fucking Squidward looking motherfucker, oh hell no. Which might not be so bad if you're a fan of calamari, but I like to keep my tentacles firmly inside my browser history. All we knew after being ejected from this weird alien pod was our name, our class, and the fact that we have a history of incredibly poor impulse control. Wait, I can bite this guy's toe off? Fuck it, yes. Yes, bite his toe off, why not? Having gotten familiarized with our surroundings, we inspect the fish tank in which our brain-eating parasite had been living. An action which prompted us to make the very first roll of the game. With a total of 8 intelligence, investigation wasn't really one of our strong suits, but hey, how bad could it be? Oh, what the fuck? Oh, come on, really? Having the first roll of the game result in a critical failure probably didn't bode very well for the rest of the playthrough, but we pressed on through the sphincter, put a dead goblin we found in my pocket, and started a conversation with this man's brain, which when you think about it isn't actually as strange as it sounds. Well, at least the brain part. The brain wanted us to help it escape from the prison that was this man's head, which seems like a reasonable enough request to me. Having done what we could, we kept going, because keep in mind we're still on a flying squid monster that's on fire. We didn't get very far, however, before this happened. Wow, that sure was anime. Our brains connected through the power of Bluetooth, and we decided to team up to beat down some red devil babies. Then we saved this lady named Shadowheart, stole this guy's big flaming sword, and managed to escape the flying squid monster by getting knocked unconscious and yeeted out mid-flight. Progress was made, and if it wasn't for the fact that we were rapidly plummeting towards our death, I would say that things were actually going pretty well. Thankfully, we are suffering from an extreme case of main character syndrome, so we are safe before ruining someone's day at the beach. When we eventually wake up again, we are faced with a couple of things. Firstly, we don't know who we are. Since we chose the Dark Urge origin, we are suffering from amnesia, and we have all of these urges to do terrible, awful things to people for no apparent reason. In other words, we have become every GM's worst nightmare. We are murder hobos with a reason. Secondly, we have no idea where we are. And lastly, we can turn into a hideous, brain-eaten tentacle monster at any time. Gentlemen, we're in trouble, but I wouldn't let that keep me down, so we started exploring. Pretty quickly, we ran into Shadowheart again, and we decided to team up until we can get the parasites out of our head. We also found this pale-looking elf guy who immediately tries to steal my wallet. We do manage to de-escalate the situation, and he does end up joining the team, which wasn't really what I was looking for, but fuck it, I'm not complaining. Speaking of de-escalation, we then found this wounded mind flayer, and I decided to de-escalate my foot onto his head. God, I didn't expect me to fucking curb stomp the guy, what the fuck? With weird octopus brains all over my boots, we found Lacelle again, but this time the table had turned. Well, how the turns have tabled. She had been caught by these devil-looking people, and they were convinced that she was dangerous, and they had no idea how right they were. But since she had helped us out earlier, we convinced them with our extreme tank charisma to let her go. I can't believe that actually worked. An alien invasion? Really? In her infinite gratitude,
the tadpole hasn't yet scrambled all your senses. Auspicious.
she tells us that the tieflings had mentioned a nearby camp, and while the odds of them having anything close to a doctor were laughably small, it did look like our best bet of not having our organs turn into a liquid and our personalities subsumed by a squid man. Before we could get there, however, we are faced with a terrible temptation. Oh no, I just found out you can push people, and now there he stands, little halfling man on a box just waiting to be pushed. I would be lying through my teeth if I said that I hesitated even for a second. Even if we die now, it was completely worth it. While I thought it was pretty funny pushing this halfling dude off a 2-story ruin, his friends didn't really appreciate it. So we killed them, and then we killed all of their friends inside the ruins, cleared out the place, accidentally reanimated a bunch of undead dudes, found the amulet of M. Night Shyamalan, and awoke this dude from his eternal slumber. Oh fuck, it's like Skyrim all over again. If you fools on me, I'm gonna put you back in the box. To my surprise, it didn't actually want to suck my life force out of my face, and instead told us that we would meet again. It was all quite ominous, so we decided to make camp for the night when this happens.
I will stand watch. Should a single tentacle split your skull, I will not hesitate to end you.
That's very reassuring, thank you. Also, the undead dude was at our camp, and it turns out he's basically an interdimensional merc handler, and if we need any mercs or anyone resurrected, he's our guy, which is pretty cool, I guess. Day 2. Our goal for the day was finding the camp we had been told about, and with it, someone to help us with a little brain problem. So naturally, we immediately got sidetracked by this mysterious swirling purple portal thingy, which, despite being described with words like erratic, malfunctioning, and dangerous, I naturally had to touch. To my surprise, a hand popped out of it, so naturally I ripped it off. We just cut a man's hand off. Well, at least that's what I wanted to do, but instead I gave it a slap.
Perhaps I should have clarified? A helping hand?
And then we pull out the wizard. He seemed like a pretty shady dude, so I let him join the team and continued our search. When we eventually find the camp, it is currently under attack by a gaggle of goblins. This wasn't good, because inside that camp might be the key to our salvation. So we made sure that they knew that we were here. Having defeated the goblins, we are allowed into the camp where we learn 3 things. Number 1, the camp is actually a druid's grove and the head druid Halsin is currently missing. Number 2, the tieflings we see everywhere are refugees from a city that was swallowed by hell and then spat out again, which is pretty fucking metal. And number 3, the acting head druid Kaga, who has been in control for roughly 2 hours at this point, is basically Forest Hitler. There was a lot of things to see and a lot of people to talk to, but we couldn't afford to be distracted, which meant that I immediately got distracted.
Moo.
Cows don't say moo, they just moo. I'm fucking on to you, Mrs. Strangeox.
Still, when the time comes, call for the blade. I won't be long to answer.
Fine, you can join us, but if you keep
plan.
calling yourself the Blade of the Frontiers, I'm gonna stab myself with a brick.
But I know what naughty boys need. A bit of love and care.
Man, what a nice lady. I bet she won't turn out to be a really, really bad, horrible, disgusting human being at all. Yeet!
And the dragon they had marching in the rear, was it of the brass or silver variety?
My god, this guy is even more full of shit than I am. How is that even possible? Eventually, we do actually remember why we were here in the first place, and while we technically had already been offered a cure by AmIEviL, the kind old lady in camp, but since we had to go to her house to get it, we decided to go and see Nettie instead, who apparently was the best healer around. But as we entered the Sanctum Sanctorum of the Druids, our purpose became clear.
They're to be gone before final prayer. If they are not, the Viper must strike.
Oh no, 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 no. No, did you really just fucking say that? Oh no. The fact that she had wanted to lynch a child as I got there was nothing compared to the cringe we now had to live with for the rest of our terrible, disgusting lives. Kaga, aka Forest Hitler, the acting head druid, had to be stopped, so no one else had to suffer like I had suffered. And thanks to my finely tuned loot-finding skills, it wasn't long before we found this chest hidden away from prying eyes. Well, what will we will? Inside was a letter speaking of a secret rendezvous spot near Auntie's place. Gentlemen, we had her. Before we seal Kaga's fate, however, we have a more pressing matter to attend to. So we go and talk to Nettie, and it was fortunate that we did, because she can kill the parasite currently feasting on our massive, intelligence-filled brain.
This is a vial of wyvern poison.
So with that, we are faced with a choice. We could either go and find Halsin, the real head druid, who might have the powers to fix us up. We can go to AmIEvil's house in the hope that she wasn't just looking for a hot piece of ass. Or we can drink the Wyvern poison Nettie gave us and kill ourselves instead of dealing with our problems. I'm not gonna lie, I was actually kinda leaning towards the poison, but with my luck, the rest of the team would just resurrect me, and not only would my problems not be solved, I will also be out 200 gold. So we decided to ignore the problem and just explore some more, which, as it turns out, was a great idea.
It hurts! It hurts! Please, make it stop!
Because we get to help this bard finish a song about her dead friend, which is extremely wholesome, and I actually really liked it.
And know that I will pray. Farewell, my dear old friend. Wait, that's it?
Shortly after that, we got offered to sell our soul to the devil, so we will remove the parasite from our head, and found out that Lae'zel had been sniffing me when I wasn't looking.
Your odor alone is enough to make my neck sweat and my hair stand on end.
Anyway, it wasn't long after that we started feeling the pressure again. How long did we have before turning into a horrible brain-sucking tentacle monster? And more importantly, when will Lae'zel come and lay claim to me? Since we couldn't ignore the problem anymore, and because we were close to Auntie's place anyway, we decided to go and see if her offer to fix us up was a genuine one. Before we could get there, however, we found her being accosted by two ruffians. They keep yelling obscenities like, "Give us our sister back," and "We don't wanna fight." So naturally, we give him the beatdown. And it turns out that she actually does have their sister, but she's staying with Auntie by her choice. I take her word for it, because accusing her of kidnapping before asking her to perform brain surgery on us sounds like a very bad idea. So she disappears in a cloud of sickly green smoke and leaves us with the guys we probably just gave brain damage. Being slightly distracted once more, we explore the area and run into these sheep who for some strange reason couldn't seem to say ba.
Sheep's voice warbles. You realize it's trying to say bar.
When I tried to find out what's wrong with the poor animal, I suddenly realized that the sunny floodplain we had been exploring wasn't actually a sunny floodplain at all, but a smelly, disgusting swamp, and the sheep, they were communists. So naturally, I confronted them. This was a mistake, because the guy I was talking to launched several very colorful insults our way and then tried to kill us. So we succeeded right back. With the communists defeated, we decided to go back to camp again, because we actually got kind of fucked up. As I was having my nightly staring contest with Lae'zel, the bard we had helped earlier came barging in and begged us to take her on adventures. I was actually pretty happy about this, because helping her with her song had been one of the better moments we had experienced in the game so far. So we accepted her into the gang and jammed out. Day 3. Do you remember the bard we helped out and had a great time with yesterday? Yeah, she's dead now, and I'm pretty sure I killed her. But with my 8 intelligence, I couldn't find a correlation with her dead body and my bloody hands, so we went back to sleep again. In the morning, we blamed it all on the parasite and pretended like the whole thing never happened. Things had escalated very quickly, and feeling pretty bummed out about the whole situation, we went to the secret rendezvous spot in the hopes of finding something to kill. And oh boy, we weren't disappointed. Oh, what the fuck, they explode now? In the fight against the mud jihadists protecting the place, Gale the wizard unfortunately met his demise and became a force ghost. He then forced us to jump through a very specific set of hoops, included colored string, a tiny flute, and a burning demon from hell to bring him back to life again. I hadn't expected any of this, so it was actually a pretty cool experience. Anyway, having revived our wizard friend, we find this letter saying that Kaga was working for the Shadow Druids. Oh my god, not the Shadow Druids! Who the fuck are the Shadow Druids? This was exactly what we had been looking for, so naturally, we immediately went back to camp and did a sleep. Day 4. For the second day in a row, we are woken in the middle of the night, but this time we're not standing over a mutilated corpse, but a horrifying little goblin man.
I have found your vile self at last!
Who claims to be our butler.
Your loyal and ever-adoring butler.
Nice. We talk about various things, such as reintroducing necrophilia to my schedule and that I have to stay true to myself. You know, normal everyday stuff. Oh, and he also gives us this bitchin' cape, which will turn us invisible for 2 turns after we kill someone. Bitchin'! Remembering why we were in the swamp in the first place, we go to Auntie's house, where we find not only her, but also the sister of the guys we gave permanent brain damage earlier. Anyway, she tells us that she'll cure us for the low price of removing one of our eyes, giving it a kiss, and putting it back in again. At this point, I am starting to grow suspicious. Sure, they're living alone in a stinky swamp surrounded by angry goblins in red hats with sickles, making young women eat pies against their will, and having a well full of putrid rotting meat is somewhat suspicious. But being able to pluck someone's eye out, giving it a kiss, and putting it back in again in the middle of a swamp without me dying of some sort of post-operation infection sounds suspiciously like witchcraft to me. So we sell her enough weapons to outfit a small army, tell her that we'll think about it, then go exploring some more. Hell yeah! This time we find ourselves in a town overrun by goblins, and while they aren't friendly, they didn't kill us on sight as you would expect. Having made our way inside the town, we immediately jump down this well where we get attacked by a bunch of gigantic spiders. Oh fuck, that bust me mama, Speed Ray. Having set up camp in the horrible spider cave, we are once again disturbed before getting our full 8 hours of sleep.
Shit.
Oh, you can say that again, bucko. Having brutally murdered someone in camp myself, it would be rather hypocritical of me sending him away for trying to give me the suck. So, I tell him not to try it again and go back to sleep again. Day 5. Having emerged from the cave, we find these goblins who are gleefully watching a tied-up gnome going round and round on a windmill wing. When I ask to stay and watch, we are told that we have to pay a toll of 1,000 gold and fuck off. It's obvious to me that this guy doesn't know who the fuck he's dealing with, so Shadowheart gives him a slap, killing him on the spot. As we were trying to save the tied-up gnome, we accidentally pulled the wrong lever. Next, we hire some ogre mercenaries for 500 gold, which frankly is a steal, and finally go to confront Kaga about her shadow druid business. When we reveal her true allegiance to the rest of the druids, 3 rats, who weren't rats at all, transform into 3 dirty little halflings who are now going to take over the grove the old-fashioned way. So, we killed them. With the Forest Fury dead, we head back to camp for some well-deserved rest. But Lae'zel had other plans, because she had come to claim what was hers, and resistance was most definitely futile. Can't we play some card games or something instead? No? Day 6. Having been firmly dominated by Lae'zel, we decide to head north. Along the way, we find this burning inn, which had just been attacked by a combined force of drow and goblins, following their new god, the Absolute. The Flaming Fist soldiers who survived the attack desperately tries to force their way in so they can save the life of Grand Duke Ravengard. He sounded like a pretty important dude, so we push the soldiers aside, and with one mighty kick with our charismatic boot, we fulfill our badass quota for the day. Searching the Inferno, we only found Counselor Floric, who tells us that the Grand Duke has been taken, and because of our peculiar set of skills, we have to find him. It sounded pretty cool, but apparently we do have to leave the area to do it. And we still had some things to wrap up, so we went back to camp again, where we find out that Grand Duke Ravengard is Will's father, and that Gale needs to consume a magical artifact or he will explode like the fantasy equivalent of the Fat Man. He doesn't want to tell us why this is, so instead of giving him something cool like a sword to consume, I instead give him a pair of my old smelly boots. Yeah, that's right, Gale. Until you tell me what the fuck is going on with you, you're not getting the cool items. You are sticking with my stinky fucking boots. Having prevented Gale from committing fantasy Nagasaki, we find the devil that Will apparently has been looking for, and we have a problem, because I immediately like her way more than I like Will. So we convince him that letting Karlach join us is going to be very beneficial to his continued survival. He does eventually agree with us, but when we go to camp again, this happens. Oh, come on, I can only deal with so many hot devil chicks at a time, ladies, please. I need some rest. Turns out that Will has made a pact with this devil for his warlock powers. And since he didn't turn down Karlach as he was supposed to, she gives him devil horns and fucks off. At this point, we had tried pretty much all avenues to find a cure, and all of our options involved either death, mutilation, or selling our soul to a devil. These aren't great, but we still had one thing left we could try. So we went to break out the head druid Helsin out of Goblin Jail. Before we could get there, however, this happened.
Hear my voice. Obey my command.
And then the artifact suddenly appears and made the voice go away, which was pretty pog. Having entered the goblin town through an unusual route to avoid answering any questions, we are pretty much treated like one of the boys. Looking for clues of Helsin's location, we run into Volo again.
Raid, draw Regslin, short work of the innkeeper made. The inn burnt to ash. The captives were many. Goblin kind had reduced them to cowering filfenny. So raise it, your goblets, and drain them with pride. Draw Regslin, the true soul, had led you gallant.
Being a bard myself, I couldn't resist making his already bad situation that much worse by out-rhyming him in front of the crowd.
Huh? That was good. Carry it on, Pitting.
And if you saw him kill Merlins, you'd have to yell, "Hum! Fa!"
Love it. For the lost.
Having pretty much explored the place without finding any trace of the druid, we run into this guy, Crusher, and he wants us to kiss his disgusting little goblin feet.
Kiss more foot.
So, like the good boy that I am, I get down on my knees, I bend over, and I bite his fucking toes off. I beat him up, let him go, find him again pissing off this bridge, and we push him into the river, where he probably drowned in the pissy water of his own creation. Get fucked. So yeah. Anyway, we also ran into these goblin children who are like most children are, obnoxious and completely unaware of their own mortality. With that, we enter into the temple proper. This is where we meet Priestess Gut, who is currently branding goblins in the name of the Absolute. And since they all think I'm one of them, we also get one. Oh, sweet. Yeah, I didn't want to use that hand anymore anyway, so yeah, that's real cool. Thanks. Having been told that Priestess Gut is the best healer in town, we tell her about our little parasite problem in our head, and she tells us that she might actually be able to fix it. So we follow her to her private quarters, tell our companions to wait outside and not to enter under any circumstance, no matter what they hear or how long I am gone. Drink a potion she offers us without hesitation, and hours later wake up shackled in a dank, dirty, disgusting cell. Not really what I had in mind, but I can't say that I'm really surprised. As Priestess Gut tells us how much she's going to enjoy feasting on my giblets, this happens. Now that did actually surprise me. With that done, we went back and talked to a dead squid man for the goblin leader. We asked the wrong questions and are forced to push every single goblin off a high ledge. And yes, I had to, because if I can push anyone off a high surface in any game for any reason, I will do it, no matter the cost. As a bad dog. And then, we did this. Having killed all the goblins on this level, we rescue Volo, which may or may not have been a mistake.
I'll slip away when the coast is clear. See you soon, my friend. I simply can't wait to pick your brain!
And went back to camp, where Gale needed yet another artifact to consume. Gale, I literally just gave you an artifact like 5 minutes ago. What do you mean you need another artifact? And as if that wasn't bad enough, Zelda then tries to kill us because she thinks we are turning into mind flayers. And then, on top of that, we are woken in the middle of the night yet again and told by this dream lady that she will protect us from turning and that I have to embrace the parasite's power so I can save the world. Yeah, that doesn't sound weird at all. So when we wake up, we naturally start inserting more parasites into our brain, unlocking more brain powers and continue our search for Halcyon so we can take them back out again. It doesn't make much sense, but here we are. We do eventually find him being harassed by these kids inside the warg pens. So we save him. And while he is very grateful for being saved, he can't actually return the favor, and instead points us towards Moonrise Towers, which is the place the Grand Duke was taken and where the Cult of the Absolute has their main base. In other words, we are apparently going to Moonrise Towers, but that's a problem for another day. So we decide to explore some more, find a very long ladder leading to the Underdark, sleep some more, and talk to Volo, who offers us to remove the parasite with an ice pick. It probably wasn't the best idea, but I said fuck it and just let it happen.
Don't move.
Tap, tap, stab.
Just a little further.
Volo tears the pick from your brain with a violent jerk. Your eye plops down into the mud.
Whoa, what's that? Is that my eye?
Triad.
He pauses, looks down at your eye, and recoils slightly as it sinks into the mud.
After the operation, he does actually give me a new magical eye, which apparently lets me see invisible things, but that can also just be the brain damage talking. Anyway, we return to the grove, get our reward for saving Halcyon and the refugees, and have a big-ass party at our camp. And with that, we had pretty much done everything there was to do in the first act, except for finding out why Auntie wanted to kiss our eye. So after the party, we went and we asked her, "Hey yo, you a hag?" And to everyone's surprise, she actually was a hag. Oh shit, she actually is a hag. So we chase her into her lair, find a headless person, a dwarf turned to stone, this elf gone crazy by knowing the future, and some other people who had done deals with the hag and had them go terribly wrong. As we were exploring, I suddenly remembered that basilisk stuff can cure someone who had been turned into stone. So I threw some basilisk poison on him, which did nothing, so we instead used some basilisk oil, and that did actually turn him back.
What in the bloody hell's is going on?
The only problem was that he immediately started vomiting blood and then fucking died. Well shit! We eventually found Auntie holding the sister prisoner, so we killed the hag in an epic showdown, saved the sister, and learned that she was selling her baby to the hag so she would resurrect her dead husband. It was all kinda sad, so when we found a wand with the husband's name on it, we used it on his coffin and resurrected him as a zombie.
What? What's happening? Why is he still dead?
Not really what she had in mind, so we decided to take him on our adventures, like our best friend.
You bastard! Give him back! I thought you were going to hell!
No, you didn't want him, so now he's mine, and I'm gonna take him on adventures and love him forever. And that is actually pretty much it, so with that, I'd like to thank you all so much for watching. The comments will hopefully work this time, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace!
What the hell are you doing? Tell of my rutting, my virility.
Don't want this puny rutting written down.
Puny? I am strong. I am virile. I am
Enough! Moment ruined. Passion squished like slow goats underfoot. Oh, we leave.
Yep, there's a lot of things going on in this game. I can't say I expected that. Well played, Larian. Well played.